Hello everyone, my name is Adeye Jean-Baptiste and I'm from Westchester, New York. My work kind of tackles this idea of these creatures moving through this landscape. They're oftentimes a metaphor for the feeling of otherness, so it kind of is a metaphor for my own personal experience of maybe not being like the first one to land. My parents are immigrants. They immigrated to the US during the 80s, but this kind of second generation that is kind of part of this other culture that is not American, but trying to fit into this American culture, which is with these aliens, it's the same thing. These aliens, they can't be human, they will always be alien, but they're kind of co-opting parts of human culture. So you can kind of see in some of the figures, the clothing that they wear, even sometimes the expressions and the kind of the funky things that I add to them that kind of push that narrative further. Color is really, really important in my work. I like to use the strongest opacity of color possible. Growing up, color was always around me. It kind of ties into growing up in a or adjacent to an urban environment and thinking about graffiti culture and things like that, where color is a huge part. It also is a way to kind of signify ourselves. I think my philosophy on art, it comes from a lot of different places. I would say that a lot of it comes from a place of conversation and community. So a huge part of my work, while I do have a huge artistic practice, I have a huge social practice. I wouldn't be here standing today without a larger community. Even just the flight out here, I was supported by Hilltop Artists and I did a residency with them a week before. Even all the color bar that I have for this residency, I was sponsored by Olympic Color Rods. Shout out to them, they're amazing. And so I think that at its core, art for me is community. What even brought me into thinking about concepts of community was coming from a place of wanting to see more of myself within the hot shop space. During my undergraduate time, I ended up working with my professor and we collaborated on a series called the Black Glass Artist Series, where we bring in artists who are coming from the Afro diaspora to Alfred, New York to do a week-long residency where they get to make their work as well as collaborate with students. For me, that was really important because it came out of time through a lot of pain within the African American community here in the US during everything that was happening during BLM. And for a larger part of the US, them starting to kind of wake up and be like, gee willikers, like this is an issue. And so kind of utilizing people's kind of empathy toward that and kind of holding their feet to the fire and like, if this is something that you're passionate about, donating money and working together. I was very fortunate to have Thurman Statham come down for our first auction and help donate some of his pieces and even be an auctioneer. And so I think that's another reason why I'm so drawn to community, is because of how that series was able to shape my collegiate experience, even my glass experience, working with all those different artists.